Exactly 2 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. and at this particular time, we're heading straight to the coffee court and the discussion will be about the music industry and the copyright law, getting to understand how this really works out. What's the way forward regarding that? And let's get to understand what are the benefits, how best can you benefit from your craft when you really possess the copyright on it. That and more coming up in the coffee court.
Well, one of the critical sectors that we can never neglect as government is the art industry. This time around on the coffee court, we digest where it has come from, where it is, and we project what contribution does this make to the economy of Uganda. Joining me to discuss this is Mr. Benon Mugumbya. He's a director for Swans Avenue. Mr. Mugumbya, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me.
Okay. The art industry, how critical is this industry?
I like to believe that the art industry is the reflection of a society. If the society is in a destitute state,
Okay.
the art industry helps to make it out, to make that aware to the whole world. If there's peace and happiness, there's love, still the other world will get to know about that society through the art. They'll basically amplify whatever the society is going through. So we are not necessarily whistleblowers, but I'm looking for the right word. We are the guys that sound the drum and advertise the society, whatever is happening, be it political, be it lovey-dovey stuff, be it religion.
So whatever that happens indoors, it is what you exactly put out.
We put it out there.
You seem to be saying this is it's more of a social activity, is it?
You could say that, but I believe, every society has that, social part of, and I believe it's what makes us fall in love with the society. Sometimes encourage, sometimes give hope, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Where has it come from?
Where has it come from? I don't think I have the right answers to that. I can only say where I've come from with it, and a little bit of what I've had that happened before.
Okay.
And with this, I believe you're asking Uganda.
I'm asking, of course, in the context of this country.
Yeah. I think it has always been in existence from the days of our grandfathers and, from the days of Chintu, if you believe in our...
the tradition.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would not have, traditional instruments or painters or what we call abawesi. Yeah, so art has always been part of us. So it's just the dynamics that are changing in terms of how it's consumed, how it's distributed, but it's something that has always been with us, and especially in Africa, it has always been a form of communication or passing on knowledge from our elders to the young kids. It's been a way of learning, yeah, so now it has just
It has resolved
yeah.
from somewhere
Uh-huh.
to where we are.
Yes.
Bring us to speed on what is happening. You've talked about perception as a key pillar. Do you think the public is perceiving this industry in the right manner? Perception of the industry.
It's that's very broad. We have situations where it's abused, you know, and we have had
So critical.
yeah, and it's very broad. I don't know how long your show
No,
is.
how broad? It is okay. We in the minutes that we have.
I'll touch on something that I feel has. I'll give an example. Was it last? When did we have elections? Last year. Yeah. Was it last year? Beginning of this year.
2020.
Yeah, we almost had a musician in power, and it goes to show that, you know, art is a big deal now.
Okay.
You know, in society, and it's something that you cannot strip away, or you know, it's now hand in
Something
hand with,
inevitable.
yeah. Be it whether you are a pastor, a president, at least you consume art. You listen to music. You appreciate art somewhere, somehow.
Okay.
It's
Something
part of
inevitable.
us.
Something inevitable is something you can't do away with.
Yes.
It means it is something very, very important.
True.
Let's now discuss the economics of this industry, the art industry. In your view, what do you think is the contribution of this industry to the development of this country?
What's the contribution of art? So a lot of people think the main beneficiaries is the artist, you know, that musician, the painter, but
Is that the wrong thinking?
it's much bigger than that. Me as a person who has worked in the background, I'll paint for you a picture. Let's say, okay, next weekend we have a big festival, Eddie Kenzo Festival. So straight away we shall imagine, oh, Eddie Kenzo is going to make money. But guess what? Yeah, he's going to make money. He's putting up a show. But he's going to need production. That is stage, lighting, sound, other musicians that are going to play for him.
Okay.
Yeah. At the festival, we shall need food. Yeah. People that are going to prepare food. We shall need security, bouncers. We shall need. So you see that there's a trickle down effect. There are a lot of beneficiaries that are going to gain from just this one guy who is going to put up a show. You understand? So a lot of families are going to benefit, and not necessarily, not that they are musicians or they're going to play alongside Eddie Kenzo. No, I might be a bouncer, but I know I'll get paid because of my services. I might be that guy who operates lights, yeah? And that's my specialty. I know that every weekend, if a musician has a gig, my services will be needed. So
it's the wrong thinking for us to say.
Yeah, you find that the sector alone employs a lot of these other people, and not just people in the arts, but in different, different sectors as well. Yeah.
So you remember when COVID-19 had just hit this country?
Yeah.
Of course, it's one of the key sectors that was actually greatly affected. If a show is cancelled, how much is lost?
Of course, okay, it depends on the different commitments that were made for the show. I'll just give an example of one of the shows that we usually do, Roast and Rhyme. So you have to book a venue, and by booking, it's not just verbal. You pay off the venue.
You pay the money cash.
Yeah, so that your date is secured. Then you have several a big list of service providers, from sound, stage, lighting. Then you have vendors that are going to sell food or different items that revealers love to enjoy, from drinks. So some of these people, you make commitments, financial commitments. Then the performers, you make deposits. So if a show is cancelled, you lose all that money, because it's not your supplier's fault that the
That
show
was
is cancelled. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's usually there's a financial implication.
Okay. So let's talk about now copyright. I know it's one of those laws that govern the art industry. Do you think this has really helped?
From my point of view, I feel we as the stakeholders, we need to take time and educate ourselves, and really get a good understanding of how this law operates, how we stand to benefit.
Are you suggesting that it's a law that people have not understood?
Yeah, and both the stakeholders and the police, or whatever body that is supposed to help implement the law. You find so many situations that so many of us are infringing that law, knowing or unknowingly. Plus, also, I believe the police, or the public in general, does not really understand how this law works. I've been to places whereby you see public, where, let's say, it's a public place and they are displaying content that's not meant to be displayed in the public, or a lot of TV stations playing content that, so, and I believe some of these, situations, people don't really know that they are infringing the copyright law.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is to do the education, in your view?
A bit of both, as the stakeholders and the government. If we want to really benefit, it's difficult to implement something you don't understand. Or,
True.
so I think it's on us and partly the government.
Okay.
So,
And that's where exactly I'll bring you to the point of government.
mhm.
So do you really think government has been that very fundamental in boosting the art industry?
I think the government can really do so much. I look at the government as my mother. Me growing up, we had some challenges, but she did her best to make sure that we got
I'm
good
talking
schools.
about the core government.
Yeah.
Not in the context.
Yeah.
You're
So
bringing it forth.
I think there's a lot that government still needs to do, for, things like the infrastructure, for us to enjoy the
You seem to be suggesting that let government leave you in your comfort zone and let it concentrate on other core issues.
It's not really a comfort zone, don't get me wrong, but
You've already attained it, you've reached a point of...
and we're not yet there, but I would rather we have better hospitals, better roads, the education, schools. I'm not saying we don't need government's help, but
all you're saying they've done. They've done enough for the industry.
No. We are not yet there. But I think there are more pressing issues than our sector.
Okay.
But I stand to be correct. I'm not saying we don't need the help. But I think it would be much better if certain things were worked on first. Like
So are you
hospitals.
satisfied where the industry is now that you're saying government should concentrate on those other core issues?
You're putting me on the spot here. All I'm saying is there's still a lot to be done, and not just in our sector, in the health sector, transportation, education. I think you see some of these things, once the people are healthy, once people can move, once we have a solid infrastructure, you will find that also the other sectors will blossom just because there are systems in place, and the engine is running, the wheel is rotating smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe as a key senior driving factor in this industry, what's your final recommendation to those in the art industry?
I would say that we have a role to play, and we should not wait for government. I believe the government will be encouraged to join us when we are moving.
So when you say we, you seem to be suggesting let government, let's leave government in its own corner, and then we also operate in our own corner. And yet I understand that government is a key stakeholder in driving some of the fundamental.
No,
like this.
most definitely we need government, but that should not stop us from starting the engine.
Okay.
Otherwise, if we're just going to sit and wait, what if it never comes? Yeah. So all I'm saying is, at least let's start with the baby steps.
Okay.
So that by the time the government comes in to help, we are somewhere.
Mr. Bernard Mugumbia, thank you for speaking to us. He's the director here at Swans Avenue. We know that the art industry is one of those critical industries that contributes a lot to the economy of this country. This is the Coffee Court, and my name is Fred Makubia.
Very great insight right there. That's with Bernard Mogumia, and of course, discussing the copyright law in the industry and how best, of course, you can participate and how can you get that copyright. You know, the possible benefits when you have the copyright. Definitely, we see very enormous. We've been able to see his record level grow to that level it is lately due to the aspect of the copyright, and of course, they've been earning money from their crafts. You know, and that only comes when they put a print onto their copies, you know, whereby you have to actually get it from them. They are the sole distributors of their copies. So that is very important, and we see the great potential this industry has to develop the country's gross domestic product when it comes to, of course, annual sales. But this can only be that way when we largely emphasize the copyright, and because into this aspect you will be in position to be tracked in terms of tax payments, so you can't default on the taxes. That is something very, very important. So that was a great insight regarding the music industry and the impact of the copyright on this very particular industry. All right, at this particular time, we are going to get into a short commercial break, but when we return, we're heading into the topical discussion, and the point of emphasis today is regarding cryptocurrencies, as we saw the media in the reports regarding the collapse of the FTX cryptocurrency exchange. And of course, we see that the CEO of that particular company, his net worth was $16 million US, but before we knew it, it came down to zero. It collapsed. So the whole emphasis of this kind of topic is regarding what lessons do African traders learn from the collapse of FTX, because it's been quite a talk of the day everywhere you go. Cryptocurrency, people telling about cryptocurrencies, but now we see one of the famous cryptocurrency exchange rates collapse. What does this mean to a Ugandan trader, to an African trader, but of course, in particular, Uganda? That and more coming up after